guys, welcome to Homestead Hopes. Today, well actually this evening, we're planting some watermelons in our garden. Right now we're doing the Jubilee watermelons. We've tilled up this area right here. We're pulling out some weeds that we can pick out with our hands. We're laying down the cardboard and we're going to get the seeds in the ground today. So stay tuned and see how they turn out. Okay, so we've got our little identifying marker that comes in with our packet of Berlin seeds. These are finely textured bright red flesh with deliciously sweet taste, and they should mature in 97 days, and they can get up to 40 pounds. So we're really hoping that we will get that 40 pounder this year. All we're going to do is we're going to take 3 seeds per mound, and they just look like normal seeds you would get out of a watermelon that you were eating. It's kind of hard to see because my hands are covered in dirt, but just normal seeds. And what I'm going to do is I'm taking a tip from the Amish. What I'm going to do is I'm taking a tip from the Amish. The Amish believe that when you plant a seed, you plant the point down. I don't know how it makes it any better, but we're going to try it and see how it works. So we've got our hill here. We're just going to dig out a little tiny bit in the middle. We want this soil to be higher than the rest of the soil that's around it, so these don't flood out, because we are expected to get more rain. We've already gotten 5 inches of rain in the last 6 days. So we're pretty saturated out here. But we're going to do 3 seeds per mound. I'm just going to put them point down into the soil and cover them up. And that's it. Now we're just going to move on to the next one. Okay guys, so it's a little hard to see, but this is our progress for tonight. It's getting a little too dark out here, so we will continue this tomorrow morning. And we got a nice shiny moon. See you in the morning. Okay, so it's the next morning. We have gotten our watermelon in the ground, and we actually decided to do some cantaloupe as well. So we have those down, we've got them mulched, and then we put in about 3 okra plants. But today is going to be more of like a straighten up and clean up the garden type of day. So hope you guys will watch as I just spruce up the corn and make it look a little bit. Okay guys, so now I guess this morning we're going to check for squash bugs. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping we don't have any in here. So let's see if we can stir them up. So there's no eggs present under the leaves. That's a good sign. We've got some zucchini coming on. The rain has been so significant around here. It's just really jump-started a lot of things on my plants that I don't want. I'm hoping this isn't a case of powdery mildew. If it is, I know how to take care of it and I will deal with it, but again, this rain is appreciated, but I wish it would just come less frequently and not all at once. So yeah, we've got some zucchini there. It's looking pretty good. I don't see any signs of bugs, so that's a great sign. Here's our finished watermelon. Kind of boring, I know. But this is pretty interesting. So these were planted at the same time. You got a flower there, and then look at this dude. This is huge. Like, that's already almost ready to pick and eat. So exciting. And our tomatoes aren't doing very bad. I'm having to hold off on spraying the neem oil and everything because I see there's some blight at the top of that I need to address. But with all this rain, all it would do is just wash it off, and it would kind of be a waste of spraying. So I'm waiting to do that. I do have a nice red tomato right there that's actually ready to be picked. You don't even have to leave them on until they're red. Once they reach kind of an orange color like this, you can pull them off and let them ripen just by sitting in a window or anything really. I mean, anywhere they can get some more sunlight. And we did get the carrots weeded, so they're starting to come in thicker. And also we've got a little climber there on the trellis. And this is a new seedling we planted probably 3.5, 4 weeks ago. And it's already doing really well. These are some big carrots. This one is really starting to climb. I did have to wrap the cucumber around the trellis a little bit, but I think it's figured out what it needs to do now, which is great. And then yesterday we also weeded some onions and got our lettuce weeded and looking a lot better. This onion is huge. It's growing so well. And also this lettuce is really doing well. I wish you could see how big those leaves were. But yeah. Oh, here's an even bigger onion. That's pretty much the update on the garden. Didn't know if anyone was wondering about it, but that's where we're at with it. I've also got a couple cabbages that are doing surprisingly well. I can't believe it with the heat. I've never had any luck with cabbage or broccoli this time of year. This is a purple cabbage. So fingers crossed that they do well because they're really delicious. Also, our mulch pile has dwindled down to almost nothing. So it's about time to get another load of mulch because we will need it throughout the summer to keep those weeds at bay. We still have the weeds, but they're much easier to deal with and to pull and to get rid of with the mulch. Fig tree's doing good. If you look right here, there's a little baby branch coming out of the ground. So I think that one's going to make it, which I'm so excited because it started to turn brown and it was scaring us to where we thought that it was going to die, but it pulled through. And our grapes are doing good. They've just got arms all over. So I think it's about time to build another trellis for this one. As I said in my first few videos about when we started the garden, this little trellis right here will not suffice. So we're going to have to build it higher and stretch those arms out so it has room to grow and get bigger for next year. So hopefully we'll be able to harvest some of those grapes. I've also been looking for some lights to add to my trellis. I think it would look really nice having lights either going over all the way from one end to the other, kind of at a back and forth crisscross pattern. I've looked at a bird bath and a few little maybe wind chimes, hanging type of ornaments that are eye-catching, just to liven that up a little bit and make it look a little more nice, especially at nighttime. We love sitting outside with the porch lights on. We've added some Edison lights to our porch so we can sit out here, and we would definitely like to have that all over our flower bed and have that illuminated at night. So it's kind of a relaxing experience to sit out here at nighttime and look at. So first and foremost, the heat has made its way to Oklahoma. It is in the 90s for sure. The heat index is much higher than that. So it's pretty miserable outside right now. But if you want to have a garden, you got to deal with it. So that's what we're doing. Second of all, the squash bugs have invaded our squash and our cucumbers. So that is causing major issues. I'm out here daily trying to hand pick them off of the plants. I have a bucket of soapy hot water that I bring out with me and I drop them down in there. I know they're gone for the day, but it seems like the very next day when I come out, they're just back again. So I've been doing my due diligence and trying to pull off all the eggs. That works to an extent. I've tried Seven Dust, Diatomaceous Earth, Captain Jack's Bug Stop, what else? Neem oil. I've tried everything, but they're still coming back in big numbers. So I'm just trying to stay on top of it. And it's a little aggravating, but we are still getting zucchini and squash from our plants. I just know that they can produce much more than what they have already. So I'm just going to keep trying to push through, not get discouraged. But I'll show you one of my plants. It's heartbreaking, to be honest. So this guy was healthy last week. Now you can see there's a little yellow squash on there. And this plant is actually really small to be putting out squash already. But look at these leaves. They just crumble. It's like they're dead. And we've had so much rain. I haven't had to water, but I don't know. Maybe it's the squash bugs doing it. If you guys have an idea, let me know in the comments because I'm just at a loss right now. This plant was extremely healthy last week. We got our first yellow squash off of it, and as you can see, it's got brittle leaves. Now, normally I would go through and prune off these leaves, but I'm trying to keep from doing too much damage and shock to it to see if it'll come out of this slump that it's in. This one's not doing so bad. It is kind of got some burning going on it. So I'll just keep watering the best I can. We did actually get a drip system that we're going to install just to make sure they're getting adequate water. And this one was my pride and joy, and she is just looking like a hot mess. Literally, every squash that she has just turns to mush on the ends. So I have to pull it because it's not worth it to leave it on there, and all it's doing is attracting the squash bugs. This one's got a pretty good sized squash on it. It's darn near harvestable. My girls have been making zucchini bread like crazy with these things. And this one, not so good either. But there is a glimmer of hope because there is some new leaves and foliage coming in right there. So hopefully it's trying to snap out of this funk. Number 2, our potatoes are deader than a doornail. I don't know what happened, if it's time for them to be dead. Now, if you remember right, we planted these guys in March. So they've been in the ground 3.5 months or better. And my husband did test and do a little bit of a dig, and he did get out some edible potatoes. They weren't green. They were nice looking brown potatoes. They weren't as big as we'd like, but we did get some. Now, we're waiting to dig these till they completely die and turn into just complete brown on the top because we're building storage boxes. We've got to find a cool place to keep these guys so that we can store them through the winter. And right now we don't have anywhere cool. So we may have to donate these guys and just plan another round and see how that goes. Now we did plant some okra, and if you know anything about gardening, you know that okra will grow in any conditions. So it's thriving. So we're happy about that. Lettuce is doing good. We've actually been eating it and clipping it, having salads, putting it with tacos. It's doing really good. I have to weed again because they just keep coming back, but at least they're not all over the garden. They're just in the little small areas in between the plants. Onions, we've got some good ones. They are growing the best they can. Maybe they will do a little better than what we're hoping, but we do have some that are on top of the ground and they are doing pretty good. On to carrots. So again, don't judge me. I have been weeding these. I'm not just neglecting them. I promise. My husband and I spend countless hours out here trying to take care of these weeds, but they just keep coming back. Now I am happy to report our cucumbers are climbing the trellis like we wanted them to do. I was a little worried about it because I didn't see that they were doing exactly what I thought they would do, but they're doing it. So I'm happy about that. Right there is a little small cucumber. These are pickling cucumbers, so they'll be ready to pick in no time. We do have watermelon coming up. I don't know why, but only 2 of the, I believe, 6 plants we planted are coming up so far. This will give you an idea of how big they are. We planted them about 2 weeks ago, but they are growing. Now, the tomatoes have seen better days. We are picking some tomatoes off of the vines. They are edible. Some of them have areas that have to be cut off before you eat them. They're not good, but they taste great. The only issue I'm having is it's not putting out branches like it should. And I believe that's because of all the excessive rain we've had. And also the tomatoes are splitting. And I know for a fact that's from excessive rain and just crazy watering schedules. It's not, basically the tomatoes growing faster than the skin can stretch, and it's causing those cracks. So we have been picking some. They are okay. I'm just hoping that they'll get better. See what I mean by the rain? It's just coming down like crazy around here. So if you look, this is a very, very unhealthy tomato plant. It looks awful. I feel so bad. I'm trying everything to keep it looking nice. However, the one right next door to it is looking good. So I don't know. Maybe it's the varieties or something that differ. I just don't know. So here is a visual of what I mean by these tomatoes splitting on top. So with that splitting, that tomato needs to be picked already, because all it's going to do is continue to try and grow and split and stretch the skin. So it needs to come off the vine. Now, it's edible. It looks beautiful. It's not red like you would think it was supposed to be. However, I can put this on the patio. This will ripen out. I can put it on the kitchen table, let it get a little bit of sunlight. It'll ripen out. But it'll taste just fine like this. And it's very tasty. Now, here's another good example. I left this tomato on the vine too long. So if you see, it's orange like the other one. It looks okay. But look at how nasty this looks on top. I'm not eating that. And it's mushy. It's not good. So this is for the chickens. All right, now our beans aren't doing too hot either. And I have realized that these are not going to climb this trellis. This is a bush variety. So We have some peas. We're going to plant those later on in the season and go ahead and let those climb the trellis. Hopefully these cucumbers just make their way over both sides, but we'll see. Pepper plants are doing fantastic. This one I actually started in the house in the window and then brought it out and transplanted it, which I was afraid to do because that never works out for me. I get them out here. I don't harden them off enough. I think I do, but I don't, and they just wilt and die. This one is another one that I started in the house, and it's thriving. It's doing good. It actually made me think it wasn't going to do so well, but it did. So our corn, it's not doing good either. It does have corn on the plants, but we're worried that these stalks on these are not going to be able to support the weight of having a cob on there. So we're just doing everything we can. My husband he actually emailed Berlin Seed Co. because that's where we got the seeds from. They emailed him right back. He said, what is the problem with my corn? It's turning yellow. Is it getting too much water? What's the deal? Can you help me? And they did. They actually sent him a detailed prescription of what to put on the corn, and they actually told him that the corn had some sort of a deficiency. So it was a nitrogen deficiency, and they told him exactly what to go get. We went down to Walmart, got a big concentrated bottle of fish emulsion to put on there, and believe me, it stinks. But we got it and we put it on, and it did stop the yellowing on some of the plants. So that's good news. However, we're still seeing issues with having some browning of the plants at the bottom. Also with the storms and everything we've been having a lot of wind with those. Maybe that's why, but some of the plants are laid over, and we know from experience they don't normally come out of that. Once they lay over, they just don't stand up again. They just go on ahead and die. On to the rhubarb. This one's doing fantastic. We have been very careful not to overwater. Now this one, not doing so well. And it seems to be rejuvenating itself, but I don't know. At least we know it's a perennial and it's in the ground. So the seeds, the tubers, everything is there for it to come back bigger and better next year. So we're just going to leave it alone. We're going to try and do our best to keep it minimally watered, but not allow it to burn up with this sun. But do our best just to bring it back to life. So this video was just to kind of update you on our garden. I'm not going to lie, I did get discouraged and started to feel like our garden wasn't going to do any good this year, but we've just been continuing to work at it, to come out, do our due diligence to weed the best we can, take off any pests or anything that are trying to invade our plants, spray every 2 weeks. We're doing everything we can. So if they don't make it, then it's just a learning experience for next year. We'll know what to do better. But my number one thing is don't get discouraged. Keep at it. Keep trying. I have some things that are doing fantastic in my garden. Just some things are struggling a little bit. So again, don't get discouraged. Try your best to stay on top of watering, spraying if you can, using every tool you can on the internet, because there are people out there who will put up articles on Google and everything to help you kind of get your plants out of the funk like ours are in.